What are stories about?
I want to bring what I told you abstractly down to earth, and then you can start thinking, well, do the conceptions that I've introduced to you, are they good for anything? Do they help? That's the order, descent into chaos, re-establishment of order. That's Paradise Lost, Profane History, Paradise Regained. It's the classic comedy, and that's the story of life. And the question is, how do you manage it? And so that's a question you really want to know the answer to. So you'll pay money, weirdly. You'll line up and pay money to see a story about that, even if you don't even know that that's what the story is about. And the reason for that is that actually part of you does know what the story is about. You know, your cognition has multiple layers. You understand things that you don't know you understand in ways that you don't understand.
What is the storyline or base or fundament that is same in every story?
You inhabit a story. The framework through which you look at the world is actually a story. And here's the story. The story is, you're somewhere and you're going somewhere. You know, that can be conceptual or whatever. But there's a gradient between where you are and where you're aiming at, which means no more really than you're doing something while you're sitting there. And hypothetically, you're aiming for something better. And so you're in a state of insufficiency, always. The insufficiencies change, and then you're trying to rectify the insufficiency, and you presume that your current state is less preferable to the state that you're aiming at. And then the way that you bring those two together is, sometimes you can do it through thinking, but fundamentally you do it through action. You do it through acting in the world. And so that's sort of the answer in some sense to the mind-body problem. You have a conceptual structure, but when you implement it, you're implementing it not abstractly, you're implementing it through action. And so that's the basic story. It's not a very interesting story, but it's the framework through which you view the world. So it's a value-laden framework. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to act and you wouldn't know what to look at. So it's a value-laden framework. You look at the world through a value-laden framework. So then we might say, well, what is the optimal value-laden framework? That's what we're going to try to figure out. You know, like they had some axioms and we had some axioms, and if you're a moral relativist you might say, well, who's to say which set of axioms are better? Or even, who's to claim that you could say that a set of axioms, one set is better than another? That's what took me into the study of the underlying stories, the fundamental stories upon which our culture, I believe, is based. And some of those are very old. Those are sources of our culture. And I think those stories are grounded in much older traditions.